All right. Whenever you're ready, Andrew, or am I hosting it and you're just a panelist this week?
I think you should host it, and I'm just a panelist because my internet is unreliable.
Oh, all right. I will be Andrew once again. Well, hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 156 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the #1 live podcast in Canada. Recording Monday, October 29th, 2018.
I guess Marty's. We're just going to have to wait for Marty.
Okay. Yeah.
Just stay tuned for 30 minutes of silence while we wait for Marty.
Yeah, for Marty to read his intro. And then, yeah.
I'm Liberal Tim. I'm a husband and father of 3. I'm a sports shooter and the owner and operator of Tim's Good T-shirts. They're quite good. I'm also the proud descendant of immigrants.
As always, my name is Andrew. I'm a recovering libertarian, competitive shooter, and a firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical. I will not be your host this week, and my internet is so amazing that I hear about every third word that Tim says.
Amazing. Tax dollars at work. I'm Gavin, a business owner, hunter, atheist, gun enthusiast, and CCFR field officer for the GTA, and also your host for this evening's shit show. You're up, Andrew.
I assume you're saying witty things. I can't understand what's going on.
We'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. A version of the show is available on Stitcher and iTunes. You can find it there. You can check the podcast out at Facebook.com/CanadianPatriotPodcast and Instagram at Instagram.com/CanadianPatriotPodcast.
Then we need your help. To support the show, visit www.patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. The more you pledge, the better the rewards are. If you pledge enough, maybe you can come out drinking with us. Who knows? But show you're not a communist and buy a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right. All right, Arrowhead Coffee. Arrowhead Coffee is owned and operated by Canadian Armed Forces veterans. They love our country, the true north, strong and free, their family and friends. Join Arrowhead Coffee on their hunt for the perfect brew to raise morale and bring that feeling of home to you, no matter where you are. A portion of all profits helps Canadian Armed Forces members, veterans, and their families. Which brings us to our favorite segment, What Are We Drinking? Andrew?
I am drinking Granville Island's Winter Ale. It's quite good.
Excellent. A local brew for your current location.
Allegedly.
Yes. Tim, yourself?
I'm drinking the Old Rickards Red this evening.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice. Once again, this week I am drinking Coors Banquet. I am trying to finish off the last few cans before I get back on the keto. So.
Yeah, it's about time I climb back on the old keto wagon again.
Yeah, I need to increase my mayonnaise intake drastically because I've put on some weight.
This is the lightest I've been in like 2 years. The trick to not being fat is apparently controlling what I eat and going to the gym.
Interesting.
Also, getting stopped by the police while wearing my plate carrier and walking the dogs has helped. I feel like walking the baby wearing the plate carrier and walking the dogs wearing the plate carrier, like I feel like the extra weight, even if it's strictly psychological, I feel like that is making a difference because I have been trying to get my steps every day, and I've been trying to go to the gym a couple of days a week and lift big, heavy weights. So it's all, like I'm only doing like 5 lifts. It's all compound full body exercise stuff. So it's squats, deadlifts, bench presses, some kind of a row, like a bent over row or row, or I don't know what it is. It's in the app. I have an app that tells me what to do. I do it. It seems to work.
That sounds an awful lot like CrossFit.
It's not CrossFit. I am not doing kipping pull-ups.
I believe you mean fucking pull-ups.
Yeah,
those suck.
are. I am not doing the CrossFit, but I'm trying to get into the better shape for the Ontario Practical Multi-Gun Shooting League. So,
Op
bring a
missile.
plate carrier.
Yes,
Working
Op Missile
gym.
is so hot right now.
I'm looking forward to Op Missile. I want to run around and shoot guns in plate carriers with my friends and then convince more people to come shoot service rifle matches while wearing plate carriers.
Yeah.
Good goals.
Yeah, it's good to have those.
Well, and if nothing else, like I'm doing pretty good kit shakedowns on all the plate carriers that we've been looking at that we're carrying at Ragnarok Tactical. So if it's on the website, I have done many, many kilometers in it with the heaviest plates that I could get. I have some old body armor that weighs significantly more than the level 4 plates that we sell right now. So I've been using those to walk around in because of the extra weight.
That's what happens when you buy them from those who should not be named.
That's
They
the
weigh
takeaway, yeah.
They weigh a lot more.
And they may not work so good.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, so I've been wearing the plate carriers, and I have a bunch of plate carriers from other vendors that I've been not reviewing, but providing technical feedback to a manufacturer. Like I've been providing, I don't know what you call it, expert feedback, like a subject matter. That's what it is. Subject matter expert feedback on the designs of a couple of different plate carriers from another manufacturer. So hopefully they make some changes, and then I sell those too.
Yeah. Well. There you go. You heard it, folks. Buy your plates from Ragnarok Tactical.
Oh, I guess while we're on the topic of Op Missile and buying plates, Ragnarok Tactical for Op Missile, the Ontario Practical Multi-Gun Shooting League. So if you need to get plates or a plate carrier or tacos or any of the stuff that go, like anything except the actual guns, I can probably hook you up. And I have a line on helmets that are on their way. We're going to have level 3A, 3+, level 3 helmets of some variety.
Well,
I'm just waiting on customs to do their thing. So
I need to fondle them a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to get helmets from Crow Shield to go with our armor from Crow Shield. So it's European made in Croatia body armor. It's the body armor that we have is Israeli manufactured Kevlar that's put into the final product in Croatia and then shipped to Canada. So the helmets will be something similar. They're going to be
Yeah. And the nice thing is they don't come in baby blue. Because nobody wants to be wearing a baby blue helmet.
No. They're probably just going to come in tactical black, and we'll have to find a place to sell helmet covers so you can get whatever color you want.
Yeah, that or it's just it's called spray paint.
Yeah, so
the most operator dudes just use spray paint.
And I'm okay with that. I just
well, you need your
manufacturing and inventory. We're probably just going to get black, and then you just put a cover on it, and make it whatever you want.
Yeah,
you need your battery pack counterweight for your NVGs. No.
Yes, eventually, yes, you will need that. Well, but only if the wife lets you buy those, Benny.
Yes, good evening to Benny. Benny has joined us.
Yes, good evening to Benny. Benny, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Benny. I'm a Jewish gun guy who likes guns. And I'm on the podcast. It's very hard to do this without show notes.
Benny is our most kosher panelist. And by that I mean the only one.
I've been catching up on CPP, and just you just need someone of the nation on once in a while with all those Jewish references every episode. So yeah.
Well, we have been accused of being nationalists, so
We've been
Yeah,
accused of being a lot of things: nationalists, anti-Semites, racists, really good at shooting.
Yeah,
that's why I'm here, right?
yeah,
Handsome.
you disproved some of those things.
Yep.
There you go. Well, shall we
We've been
transition?
accused of being a couple of things.
Yeah. Shall we transition into our first story and hold off on the 22 match review until Marty can get here?
Let's do some news. We got Benny. We got some news. Let's do that.
All right. Where's the headline on this one? Here we go. So the first one is an interesting story. I guess some human traffickers have put forth a challenge for their punishment, citing it's cruel and unusual. So I guess their 4-year prison sentence was too much for these two individuals. I'm not going to read their names because we don't do that with shitbags. But yeah, 2 individuals sentenced to 4 years for trafficking. 2 girls ages 14 and 17. So yeah, 4 years is not enough in my opinion, but in theirs it is cruel and unusual. What do you gentlemen think on this?
Human trafficking, wouldn't that be the same as kidnapping?
How
is that?
Yeah.
How is that not the same as kidnapping?
Well, because you kidnap them to sell them into sexual slavery as opposed to kidnapping them for ransom. So it's actually worse than kidnapping.
In my book, kidnapping is a capital offense. No.
I like your book, or at least this.
Careful what you say.
Right. Well, I guess is it a book or is it more like a series of scrolls? I'm not sure.
You may have just converted without knowing, but no, yeah, I would agree with Benny on this. Absolutely, like if kidnapping is a capital offense, and this is a more heinous crime than kidnapping.
This is a double illegal capital offense. But I mean,
it's industrial.
Serious.
It's industrializing kidnap. That's what it is. I don't see how did they get away with 4 years in prison? That doesn't make any sense.
Kidnapping. You're right, Benny. Like it's just if you think about it, kidnapping is something that you could actually kidnap someone not just on the spur of a moment, but this is intentional. Like this is you choosing to make kidnapping your profession.
Yeah. So I'm with Benny on this. Like kidnapping should be a capital offense. This is double plus not good.
Yeah, it's 2 capital offenses.
Right, because I mean
times 2, so 4 in theory.
I don't care if women want to sell their bodies for money, but I'm not okay with other people forcing them to do it. Caveat: they should pay taxes on that, the same as any other business. Not that we should be paying taxes, but if you're gonna run a business providing a service, you should be remitting the taxes to the government for those services like any other business. That aside, this is not that. The people that are forcing young women to be doing this, girls, because they're 14 and 17, the fact that they've only gotten the mandatory minimum sentence under the current law is reprehensible. If the Crown goes and gives them anything else because of their perceived trauma, because of their separation from their families and being in jail, like the Crown attorney ought to be removed from the bar. This is not someone I want practicing law.
Yeah, I mean, the only argument I have for their sentence being too long is that
it shouldn't take that long to load up a 9mm round.
Yeah, or march them up the gallows to hang them. Yeah.
I've come to the realization that that's not something that's going to happen in this country, for good or bad, whatever. But the fact is that for something that is considered so heinous that in most societies, that have the death penalty, this is something that warrants it.
Oh yeah.
How is it that your first? I pulled it up here. I'm at the criminal. I think it's it looks like it's your official government website. In the case of the first offense, it's 5 years. And in the case of a second or subsequent offense, 7 years.
So these guys haven't even got the minimum, and they did 2. So if anything, it should be 5 years plus 7 years at the absolute minimum.
I'd really like to see this as 5 years per offense.
I wouldn't even say like that. I mean, we're not talking about they went and kidnapped and ransomed an adult. They kidnapped.
No, I understand that. But if we're gonna
children,
and then on a per offense basis, like this is.
Oh wait, I didn't read far enough. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. In the case of, I'm just going to read the whole thing until the end of the section. In the case where a firearm is used in the commission of the offense, to imprison for life, and to a minimum punishment of imprisonment for a term of 4 years. A2, if the person referred to in the paragraph 1A, B, or C is under 16 of age, to imprison for life, and unless the person who commits the offense is a parent, guardian, or person having the lawful care or charge of the person referred to in paragraph, to a minimum punishment of imprisonment of term of 5 years, and in any case in any other case, to imprisonment for life. So,
I'm generally not for imprisoning people for life because that's a huge tax burden, but I will make concessions for people like this.
Yeah, happily. I think 110,000 a year for to keep someone incarcerated.
Yeah. So, like Andrew was saying, if ladies choose to sell themselves, let's use that money to help imprison the shitty people that non-consensually force children to do that.
But there seems to be they just don't seem to take this issue seriously. There was a local case in Owen Sound probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago, where there was this woman in her early 20s who was pimping out like a 15-year-old girl. And then they were going on, and they were talking about, oh yeah, she's the first person. She's using a new technology anklet. And it's just like, I don't want her to have a freaking anklet. Like these people are shit. When you do that kind of, you were like super shitty, the shittiest of the shitty of society. And you don't need, you have lost the right to be in society, in my opinion. And anyway, she had her anklet and they did whatever. But like this, she was prostituting out a minor. And then a couple of years later, she was involved with a string of 10 arsons that happened probably 2 years ago. It's just like her and 2 other people just walked around and just lit a fire every hour and a half. Like they're just like they ousted 14 families and caused like over, I don't know how many millions of dollars of damage in one evening. Like there was like,
when it all could have been solved with a single piece of hemp rope.
Yeah, this is kind of when you traffic a minor, that it's kind of an indicator. You could use it as an indicator. Yeah. If you'll permit me to say that you're a shitty person.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, crimes like that, there's no coming back from that. Like, there's no rehab for people that do terrible things to minors.
Yeah, there's no keto.
Yeah,
you can't just eat mayonnaise for a couple of months.
Yeah, there's no rehab. Just get some oak, get some hemp, solve the problem.
Yeah, pay-per-view.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's enough of that. It
won't be long, but like as a firearms owner, a legal firearms owner, like they're always, the government and the public and the media always seem to be after us. Like, oh, these people with these guns, why do you even have these guns and whatever? And here we have someone like 2 absolute shitbags, and then there's someone like truly heinous and committed crimes and pleading guilty to it, and you just kind of go, oh, that's cruel and unusual there.
No.
Yeah. Oh well.
I don't have anything else to add to this. These guys, it's just sorry.
No, that's government being ridiculous as you
about, guys.
Well, we're going to transition to the next one here. You're just in time, Marty. One of your favorite topics, carbon tax.
Oh.
Yeah. Your other favorite topic.
That
the Liberals are saying, the Liberals are saying that 90% of the carbon tax that they've collected will be given to Canadians in rebate. So congratulations.
What about the statement that the Prime Minister made in the House like 4 days ago, saying that most Canadians will receive more back in rebates than they paid in carbon taxes? Now they reduced that number to 90%?
Well, no. I'm sure that like some of the people
I
will
want-
be getting back more money, while
Math is
other
not his
people,
strong suit.
where other people are going to just get screwed.
It's
So
Yeah, so
90%
if they're going
of
to
the
give
money.
90% of it back, why don't they just leave it with us? If they're going to be giving it all back to us, why don't we just not take it in the first place?
No. We're a year away from election, and
Yeah.
a lot of you people are going to get more money back than you paid in the carbon tax.
You remember when they started campaigning for the carbon tax and they told us it was going to be revenue neutral?
Yeah. Apparently now taxes pay you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that we're getting some of our money back, but they should just never have taken it in the first place.
Dude, we are not getting that money back.
No, but
Taxpayers don't get it back. The people that don't pay taxes are going to get that money.
well, yeah.
And as a
feel like-
result, Canadians as a whole will have gotten it paid back.
I feel like this can tie into a later story, but I'll leave it to them.
Yeah.
What a
This is going
showman!
to be money taken from taxpayers and given to
Stay
liberals.
tuned.
That is the summary of what is going to happen with this money.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're laundering their cash. You know,
It almost does sound like that.
the money goes in and it comes out. It's,
Yeah.
it's a
And,
little bit less.
and it's clean like the air now.
Exactly.
Is this our government or a Nigerian prince?
It almost does sound like that.
Oh Jesus! But wait, there's more.
I didn't get a chance because I wasn't expecting to be able to make the show tonight. But are we going to be talking about how there's a bunch of like all like your major industries, like the large industries, are exempt from the carbon tax? Is that in here?
I don't know. I haven't really read this article too much because I just threw these together last minute. But we can talk about that.
So I think this maybe we'll probably wait for where we can actually source an article and source information for it. But essentially, there's like several large industries are exempt from the carbon tax, and in the House question period today, they said it was because of they couldn't apply the carbon tax to these larger industries because it would impact jobs. It's like, well, yeah, that's
no shit.
Yeah, but the same is true for the small industries that you are like one. You admit that applying a tax onto these businesses will drive their business down and make them non-competitive in Canada. So like you admit that that's the effect, but like you for some reason you think it's only going to apply to these certain people.
Well, yeah. I mean, government knows best.
Wouldn't that be a great incentive for people to, try and reduce pollution so they don't have to pay so much in carbon taxes?
Yeah, if only it worked that way.
But isn't that their whole logic? But hey, it's going to cost too much, so we're not going to apply to these. That's
Yeah.
great liberal logic there.
If we just run them out of business, they won't pollute anymore. Success.
Well, if your government plan is to have everyone sucking from the government teeth, then that's going to work.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Just a sea of dependence.
But I still like that definitely does appear to be the plan. But I still don't understand who do they think is going to pay it? Like who are they under the impression is going to pay for all of the people living on the government's teeth?
The 1%, or is it 3%?
No, that's different people, Tim.
It's not 3%.
Yeah. They're hiding behind blades of grass, unsure of how to use their equipment. That's what they're doing.
They are not the productive members of society that we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thing is, the 1%, they're the first people that are going to leave.
Yeah. But they're also saying.
So I think maybe it's not even the 1%. It's like the 98 and the 99th percent, like specifically those percentiles, not the entire rest of it, that maybe pay that. And then the 1% at the top just stays here and doesn't pay fuck all. I think that's how that works.
It's small business, like we all know.
Yeah.
Like they were talking about it. The small businesses are going to pay it. The big gross polluters are getting the rebates, and the small businesses are going to get paid. And then I don't know. I guess because they're buying votes. It's a voting year. The Liberals are buying votes, guys. Sorry, sucks to be Canadian.
Surprise, surprise.
So, on Gavin's point you just made there, it appears the Liberals are taxing everything but trust funds this year.
Yeah. Well, unless
that would
it's
hurt
like,
them, wouldn't it?
yeah.
You know,
Although I'm
when
sure
did
if they
Trudeau
could
get
find a
elected?
way to tax like a conservative trust fund, they will. But liberal logic.
That's the way they'll do it next. It'll be how you vote will affect your tax rate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does.
I'm for that. I think that anyone that voted for the Liberals should have to pay for the Liberal taxes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I also think that if you voted for the Liberals, we should house refugees in your domicile, because you should have to suffer the consequences of shitty policy of elected officials that you elected.
Yeah. Agreed.
I get dollar beer because Ontario, they get Syrian migrants because globalism.
Yeah.
Well, they get cheap, house nannies and maids and stuff. So
Yeah.
there's that positive thing.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we get like 75-cent beer because we voted for it? Like other people didn't vote for it, so they could pay like $3.50 for that beer.
And subsidize our beer. That'd be amazing.
Because they didn't think it was important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as a whole, we'll tax the same amount as we give back on the beer. They'll just be paid more for it, and we'll pay less.
Yeah.
And we
It's
can call
perfect.
it revenue neutral. It's a revenue neutral beer tax.
Yeah. I think we finally got this whole governing thing, guys.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I don't want to pay for the beer. I will give the beer back. In fact, you'll be getting more beer back than.
Yeah, just give me a couple of hours to recycle it, and I'll give it right back.
I'm pretty sure if you guys ran for the Liberal Party, you wouldn't have to actually do anything. You wouldn't have to wait a couple hours. Just say you're doing it, and it's okay.
Yeah, but then we'd have to live with ourselves after that.
Oh, shucks, having a conscience.
Yeah.
Such a problem in today's political world.
Yeah. Well,
Just wanted to point out the pee is stored in the dick.
That is factually false.
That's why it's called the penis.
No.
yeah, Tim. It's stored in the testes. That's where the pee comes from.
Wow, we
Well-
skipped that part of biology when I was in high school, but even I know that.
On to our next story. Canada has deemed the U.S. a safe country for asylum seekers after internal review.
Because without the government, who would state the obvious? Like, why is this even a thing?
Well, I guess the important part about this is now because of that agreement that we signed with them back when draft dodging was a thing. We don't have to accept their asylum seekers officially now because of this internal review.
But Marty pointed out on this podcast, the Safe Third Countries Act, when we started to have refugees traveling through America to get to Canada.
Yeah, but now
the government has taken a year to arrive at the same conclusion that Marty had, that we already have a rule for this, and there's the door, GTFO.
Agreed. But now we've determined that officially the U.S. is a safe country. We weren't really sure with the whole, orange dude in charge.
Right, Andrew.
So
they have to sit and think about whether it really is safe with Trump as president. If he's president, it may not be the safest place.
But he is now.
Yeah, because of all the jobs and such.
Yeah. Dude, I don't want to work.
In that country.
Yeah. That's dangerous. But I guess now that the good news is we have an official ruling, so we can start actually defending our borders and not handing out bottles of water and allowing people in with their child porn.
Yeah. Hotel rooms opening up in Toronto, guys.
Yeah.
No one wants to go to Toronto.
Yeah, not until they clean the fuck out of those rooms. They're going to need a sandblaster, some sort of defumigator.
Flamethrower might be a little quicker.
Yeah. Probably for the best, really. But,
But you know what? Then you have to pay
put the bugs back in.
whatever. They'll have to fumigate it like crazy and then defumigate it. That's how it works.
I think I know a guy.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what happened to me when I had some shipments come in from Asia for work. The government made me pay to fumigate it and then made me pay to defumigate it. I'm not kidding. That's actually what happened several times.
Yeah. You convinced me with the government.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, it took them a whole year to determine something that you said off the cuff.
Like immediately. Like,
Yeah.
And like as that story broke.
Yeah. Which I think goes back to the fact that we've got this whole governance thing down. I think now is our time to shine.
Well, I mean, I have to assume that that's where they learned about this from.
Yeah. It just took some time for those CSIS guys to pass it on through the chain to someone to go, huh, is that true? I don't know. We better check that out.
Yeah. So, yeah, look into that. It seems like a solution right there.
Yeah. Yes, I'm glad that we've determined this, and hopefully now we can start defending our borders just in time for that giant wave of migrants to pass through the U.S. into Canada.
All the way through to Russia.
Yeah.
Just keep going, boys.
Yeah.
What we do is we just all all learn how to speak Spanish and just keep telling them that this is Mexico. Keep going.
Just keep going. The last time we were over there, the land bridge was working fine.
Yeah. No.
Or we can just keep them going in that direction. Eventually, they'll just cross back into Alaska, and that's the U.S. problem.
Yeah. 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 It's the immigrant superhighway. That's.
You've gone so far. If you're back in America.
Good times. Good times. All right. What else do we got here? Oh, here we go. It's some other douche nozzle who was convicted of drunk driving and killing 4 people is set for November parole hearing because, let's just let terrible people out onto the streets as per usual.
I think I remember this.
Yeah, so apparently this guy crashed into a minivan in 2015, killing 3 children and their grandfather. He's on November 7th up for a parole hearing. So in 2016, pleaded guilty. Yeah. Impaired driving, causing death, bodily harm. Yeah.
He was in like a supercar, like going like super fast, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. Trying to get some more details here.
I'm interning it here if you want
to.
So
the family's, it's a billionaire family.
Yeah.
That's going to say. It attracted attention due to
1.8 billion
families.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is a billionaire's kid is potentially getting a lighter sentence?
Yeah. But I mean, that seems to be the norm for our country lately is do something horrible to kids. Don't pay the full, cost of your crime. Just
I don't mean to burst your bubble, but I did a little quick interning, and he was driving. I think he was driving a Jeep. The 2 vehicles that seemed to involve were a Mercedes and not a Jeep like a CJ, but like a Jeep like SUV.
Yeah. So he was slumming.
Wait,
He had picked up his
Or
vehicle at
Mercedes.
Pearson Airport after returning from his bachelor party in Miami on a private plane.
Oh yeah,
As-
like
As
their
one
family
does.
has tons of money. I'm just saying that the
Yeah,
two
just take a
cars
taxi
that I
then.
think that were involved were
Yeah.
a Benz and a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Yeah, but I mean, either way,
That
I mean,
doesn't excuse it.
yeah,
we should try and report this at least as accurately as the actual, as the mainstream media. The
Well,
actual
hopefully-
media.
hopefully
That
more
means he was
accurately.
driving the Benz. He was driving the Benz then, because the kids were in a quote. I'm gonna call it Jeep a van, but I guess so. You want to stretch it?
Yeah,
It's a Muzzo was driving an SUV that collided with a minivan carrying the Nova
Yeah.
Lake family at Kipling Avenue and Kirby Road.
yeah.
Mercedes makes an SUV. It could be a Mercedes SUV.
Either way, I mean, it's okay to get out early after you've killed 4 people.
Yeah, I
2 to
think
3
that's
times the
the
legal
takeaway
limit of,
here.
of blood alcohol.
Yeah, yeah. Just make sure you're really sorry about it.
Yeah, like he was needing to use his car to keep his balance. It says,
Yeah,
but of course, being in a car accident that might also make you tipsy. So
oh well, yeah,
poor guy.
yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to get 10 years, a 10-year sentence, and that was in 2016. So not quite there yet. I'm not that strong a mathlete, but
Wow.
I'm thinking he's about 1/5 done his sentence.
Well, you know who is going to be better mathletes now? Ontario teachers.
Ralph Goodale? No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
The,
gonna say.
Yeah, the Ontario government is now requiring math tests for all new teachers.
Trudeau wouldn't
Good.
have got his substitute drama teacher job if this was implemented.
They ought
That
to
is-
enforce this rule for all teachers,
Yeah,
and
why is
maybe
it for new teachers?
Well, probably because they know the old ones won't pass. They don't have enough
Right.
time to go and find that many of them.
really, there should be a proficiency test for anyone in public education. Like, if you're going to work for the government in eighth
think that-
grade everything.
I think what
Yeah.
you should have to solve a little math question to be able to get into the liquor cabinet at the staff at the teachers lounge.
Yeah. But yeah, all aspiring teachers in
mean-
Ontario will now be required to pass a math proficiency test before receiving their license to teach. This bill is being called the Safe and Supportive Classrooms Act. But yes, it will not be subject to current teachers to the math test, but will make the quiz mandatory for new educators.
That's
I
what?
think-
I mean, yes,
That's
I'm
ageist. They should be the same standard should be applied to all.
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
and that's what I wanted to go with this. I'm for some reason in support of this action being taken by the Ontario government. It does not go nearly far enough. Why is this not an annual recertification? Like we force other public service providers to certify on a regular basis, healthcare professionals, law enforcement officers. Why are we not forcing the teachers to pass some sort of accountability? Because I mean, really, we're asking them to pass like 8th grade everything. Because if you can't do 8th grade everything, you probably shouldn't be teaching high school students.
Yeah.
But Andrew, they have such a hard job.
Yes,
Such
I
a
know.
demanding job.
Not all heroes wear capes. Some of them are teachers. I get it.
I haven't kicked around the sunshine list for a while, but the last time I did looking for teachers, like the highest paid teacher in Ontario was making $220,000 a year,
Oof.
which is
And that's for 8 months of work.
That's a bargoon, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a goon, all right.
that's
It's-
$18,300 a month. So yeah, I think a math test. What the hell?
So, anyways, this bill also does, and this is why it's called what was the name of it?
Safe something or other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Safe and Supportive Classrooms Act. So that's not obviously there's a little bit more than just math in the safe and supportive thing. So it also expands the definition of sexual abuse acts. So right now, a teacher found guilty of a sex abuse related offense after a discipline hearing with the Ontario College of Teachers may not necessarily lose their license. So included in this act, here's quote, today I'll put an end to the opportunity to continue teaching despite having committed acts of child sexual abuse against our children. These monsters, this current government.
My God.
Yeah.
Not allowing child sexual abusers to teach children.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
at the very
that
least,
puts out a lot of.
Yeah. I mean, we already know that 4 years in jail is too much punishment for these people. So how dare we ask for any other sort of accountability, you know?
No, I mean, on the teacher's defense, teaching the old sex ed curriculum was a form of sexual abuse. So
that's a hot take. Not necessarily untrue, though.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't either, because I took the old curriculum, which just worked fine for me.
Well, if they start passing,
Gavin learned about fists in the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
On the internet, like everybody else.
Yeah.
But if they start passing a math test, and maybe they won't, go on strike so often. They'll realize that.
Yeah, what they're actually getting paid.
Yeah, when you make 10% more than the equivalent person in the public sector, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think anything in this is a bad thing. I'm surprised it's taken this long.
The only thing is it doesn't go far enough. It's like
you
said, like anybody who's teaching kids should be able to pass a competency test in the subject of which they are teaching.
Yep.
Like, I'm sure they're not gonna have the math test is not going to be a university level calculus test. It's going to be the grade 5 math at which they are expected to teach.
Yeah, absolute basics.
But not fractions, because those are hard.
Oh well, yeah, no, that's just ridiculous.
Don't be unreasonable.
Yeah. I mean, you should be able to do enough math to calculate how long your prison sentence is going to be and how much you're going to actually need to serve before you can get out on parole. That's all you need to know.
That depends on how much money your family has, though. So
well, yeah, but no fractions. That is cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that child is 15 and legal consent is ages 18, then I have to wait 3 years before I can touch them and still keep my job.
Unless my family's net income is.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. All right. Well, some more unreasonable requests from the Ontario government.
Oh my God.
Ontario is looking at reinstating doctor's notes required for sick workers.
This is a waste of socialized medicine.
What do you mean? Doctor doesn't. I got charged when I asked my doctor for a sick note.
No, I understand.
Yeah, you
got to the tune of $30. But your doctor also billed the government for that and collected it through OHIP. And it's an opportunity cost because your doctor could have been seeing an actual patient instead of providing you with a sick note.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you paid for his work. That's how business works.
Yeah.
Right, which I think we don't take into consideration enough in Canada is that doctors' offices, family practices are businesses. Most of them are independent contractors. The only company they contract with is the government, usually the provincial government, because that's who's paying them. So for each patient,
very short term.
Well, but for each patient they see, they bill the government, and the government reimburses them for their services on a schedule of fees that they all claim at basically the same dollar value, right? So if you see a person for so many minutes, you get paid so many dollars, and you use that to pay your office staff and your own salary and your rental of your office space and everything else.
Wow.
So this sick note thing is really like, yeah, okay, so the doctors are going to charge $20 or $30, whatever, to write a sick note, and they're going to bill OHIP fee code because they saw you, and the opportunity cost where they should have been seeing actual patients because there's a finite number of doctors to go around. So this infuriates me because it does nothing to actually, it doesn't help employers, it doesn't help workers, it doesn't help doctors. Like, this is all government bureaucratic nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, my company, I mean, this really doesn't affect us much. I mean, our policy was, I guess up until it was changed, was if you're going to miss a day or two or even 3 days, we're not going to ask. It's not worth our time or yours. I mean, if you do that too often, we're probably going to just fire you. Or if we have reason to suspect that you're a shady person, we'll probably just fire you. But I mean, other than, the ridiculous cost involved, I mean, I don't see a problem with the government allowing businesses to ask for a sick note if they so choose, because that is letting business do what business wants to do. If it's in their best interest to do so, they should be able to. If it's not, then don't do it. That should be their choice, not government's choice, in my opinion. But yeah, doctors shouldn't be charging ridiculous amounts of money for this either. But I guess, they're a business too, so they can do what they want. Find a better doctor that's not shitty.
Well, this is part of my problem with this, is that they're a business too, but they're not really a business because of the way that they're only allowed to contract with the government, and the government sets the fee schedule.
Yes. But yeah.
So I need to see the wording of it. Like, I know that, like, essentially the previous was like after 3 days, then a business could request a doctor's note if you're going to miss more than 3 days. And if that's what it is, that's all right. But if it's like, if you need one for every day you're sick, then I definitely agree with that. Like, I agree with Andrew on that like, that's ridiculous, and that becomes an overuse of our healthcare system. That being said, like, there needs to be something to stop abuse of the sick days at workplace as well. So I think, if you're sick enough that you're going to be missing 3 days worth of work, there's a good chance that you probably should be
seeing a doctor anyways.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing here is this is Bill 148 was passed by the Liberals, which then granted employees up to 10 personal emergency leave days a year, 2 of them paid, and employers also cannot ask employees to provide a medical note. The proposed bill, which was tabled last week, which could become law as early as next month, would give workers up to 3 days for personal illness, 2 for bereavement, and 3 for family responsibilities. The days will be unpaid, and employers have the right to require evidence of entitlement to the leave from a health professional.
Yeah, so again, I need to see the actual wording of it.
Yeah.
Not saying I don't trust our media, but I don't trust our media.
Yeah.
That's probably for the best.
But yeah, so I think I would follow on if they're requiring it, like if the employer has the right to require a note for every single day, like any day, anytime you miss a single day, that's ridiculous. I think the 3 days or 3 or 4 days kind of thing, that's probably a reasonable spot where you should be providing some evidence of, why you're sick.
Yeah.
If you're missing 3 days, you probably should see a doctor anyways.
Yeah. Probably.
Someone comes
the
back
doctor
after, like,
generally
5
won't do
days.
anything unless you've been sick for 10 days.
Yeah.
And then they'll just give you a broad spectrum antibiotic.
Yeah. They'll swab it and tell you to go home.
They won't even swab it.
Just prescribe everyone antibiotics. That way we can create superbugs.
Yeah. We were like, I literally had 3 sick kids and I took them all to the hospital. And it was just like one was sick for 13 days, one was sick for 11 days, one was sick for 9 days. Came home with 2 prescriptions. I was like, well, why do I come back in 2 days with this kid? It's just a lot. That's it.
No,
Here's your math test. Have you been sick for 8 days? Yes. Okay. Yeah, if you were sick for 2 more days, we'd give you a prescription.
Yeah. Well.
Well, this is, I mean, I could make the argument this is more socialized medicine. We don't want people overusing the free medicine because your children are under the age of 25, so they're children.
Yeah.
So they get free drugs from the Ontario government because I'm paying for them. So maybe making them wait 10 days isn't so bad.
You have the best argument.
Way to go, doctors.
Yeah. Well.
But that's what to me. Like I could like that. But I was charged. Like we all paid for those visits, and it just came down to how long has this one been sick? And it's just like 11 days. Oh, right, the scribbly. Like that's How much was that cost? Like,
yeah, one would assume that if all 3 children are sick, they're probably sick with the same thing and could require the same treatment.
Well, it just to me that was an education, and I could have taken every other sick kid that went into the ER that day with the same symptoms and just said,
we've all been sick for 12
days. You've
been
sick for 10 days, they're just like anyone sick for 10 days. I just tell the nurse write a prescription for that guy.
Yeah, you're a doctor now, Tim.
Yeah,
just nurses don't write prescriptions. Nurses are not supposed to write prescriptions. Just so we're aware.
Not your basic nurse, like a nurse practitioner.
Sure, yeah, a nurse practitioner can write some prescriptions. Yeah. I think they're still not allowed to do something. Narcotics, maybe.
Well, I mean, I thought they made those legal, didn't they? We can all
pot's legal now, man.
Yeah.
Is pot considered a narcotic? I don't think that's how that.
It was. It's not anymore.
No. I think it was a Schedule 1 drug. I don't think that necessarily makes it a narcotic.
Quit harshing my buzz, man.
Well, hey, you know what else harshes your buzz? You look at the price of weed on the Ontario Cannabis Store because that shit's expensive.
Yeah, that's a topic for a little bit. We're gonna talk guns now, though.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to foreshadow or read ahead. I was just
no.
I'm still baffled by the fact that the Ontario Cannabis Store runs on Shopify and costs a lot.
Yeah, we've got some reviews that we're gonna go over later.
All right.
Oh, do they have like 5-star reviews on the Ontario Cannabis Store?
I wouldn't call them 5-star, but there's reviews. we'll get into that. So I guess there's an interesting take here that's come about because of the whole C-71 thing, and then the potential handgun ban that the Liberals are looking at, and having a public open forum that is invite only. So there's a group of people in the Yukon that are kind of pissed off about this whole thing, and rightly so, because they haven't been invited to this open public forum. And the Yukon has the highest rate of licensed firearms owners per capita in the country. And amongst that, they also have the highest rate of authorization to carry permits. So qualified people are allowed to open carry or conceal carry a firearm for wilderness defense, which for the people is kind of a big thing. And if they are to ban handguns, you would have a large segment of the population that works in remote areas where there are dangerous animals now unable to protect themselves, which is an interesting take on the whole thing. I mean,
I didn't believe you. I thought you'd made a mistake, Gavin, but I looked it up on Wikipedia, and yes, there are people in the Yukon. There's like 35,000 of them.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I learned something new.
Yeah, and apparently those 35,000 people all own guns and have a permit to carry them.
Oh, and I just insulted them.
Well, luckily
they don't have the internet, though.
Yeah.
We're trying to get them quicker broadband, though.
We all know that they are law-abiding citizens, as they are licensed gun owners that also have an authorization to carry. So we're not worried about them being angry at you and, coming to shoot you. It's also really far. And it's going to be like a salmon swimming upstream with that immigrant superhighway running all the way up there back to Alaska. So
send up there where everyone's packing.
You know what I can see happening? Them implementing the handgun ban by just making a new bill that's just the whole restricted bill all over again. Like, don't change anything. Just say you're passing a new bill and just do the same thing over again. Do 68 all over again. They don't know the laws, the current laws, so someone should just say, "Oh, we got it all written up. Let's just do this one."
That's
I think you're gonna
unfortunately
notice
though.
Bill 136.
Yeah.
It's 68 part 2.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, you know they're going to just prohibit everything rather than restrict it, and then that's going to mess everything up. But I mean, to me, this is an interesting argument in favor of not banning guns, on top of all of the other reasons, like it's none of your fucking business that I own one or not. But like an actual, legit reason that these people should be consulted in these open public forums that are invite only, which the only people that seem to be invited are on the anti-gun side and not on the pro-gun side, and especially the pro-handgun side, because these people legitimately need these things as health and safety equipment, which is a chartered right, as we've learned, except when it applies to things that they don't want us to have, unfortunately. But
well, that's because they've been banned for so long, Gavin. That who cares if they were wrong for banning it back then? It's been banned for 20 years, so it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah. But this is going to somehow stop gang violence in the Yukon by banning these things. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting take on the whole situation that is happening.
I guess the thing, though, if you think about it, like the government wants to appear as if they're effective, which you'd never guess by how they act. But like when you go after, like, everyone's like, why don't you just go after the goddamn crime guns? The thing is, the crime guns, we have no idea how many of them there are. At least you can estimate how many guns there are, like legal guns, And if you prohibit and restrict, then people, like, for the most part, will comply. Yeah, so you get results, but like you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like how can you show progress on something that's immeasurable? You don't even know how many are out there.
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, hopefully they don't ever manage to ban them, but if somehow they do, it'll be interesting to see if the number of handgun deaths goes down, but the number of people killed by polar bear drastically increases.
Yeah, but that's habitat loss, man. Like they're asking for that. It's just because of your high carbon footprint melting the ice caps, driving the polar bears into the
closer and closer to their homes. Yeah.
Into the preschools.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a monster, Gavin.
The teachers aren't there because they're required to take math tests, so we had to fire them all.
And they wouldn't be allowed to carry anyway.
Yeah. But in other gun-related news, gun control groups are saying that the proposed handgun ban needs to happen before the next federal election.
Wow, even they can smell the blood in the water.
Yeah, I guess they're not so confident that the shiniest of ponies is going to win, so they want him to push this through now as opposed to waiting. I mean,
I love how they showed photos of like the shittiest guns.
Well, yeah.
Is there a cocaine press in there?
They always do. Oh yeah.
Oh, they're up to Keltec.
Yeah. Well,
Keltec.
I mean, that thing.
Well, it's non-restricted.
I mean, that thing should just be banned for being so ugly.
And expensive.
With an angled foregrip. Oh my god.
Oh man. And a pistol grip.
2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this fella, Heidi Rathjen, says, most people don't realize how weak Canadian gun laws are on various levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pump those babies up.
Most people don't realize laws. Yeah. Most people don't realize my opinion.
Yeah. For those that don't know who Heidi is, she is a Polytechnique survivor.
We saw
because she doesn't tell people that enough.
Yes,
Is she the
because
one that's on
because
the Firearms Advisory Council?
Yeah.
Yes.
She
No,
She's
is she?
also the one that is part of the and got in trouble because she did not renounce her position as a lobbyist for the Polly Souvent group or whatever they call themselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did she
So-
actually get in trouble for it?
Well, officially
I remember-
no, but like there was a lot of controversy over it, and they started to investigate it. But I'm sure that like she's in line to meet with the ethics commissioner or whoever it is, like right after Trudeau does. So, nobody's really overly worried about it. At least the people on the anti-gun side, because that would be ridiculous. Like, why would they give up their best lobbyist?
Yeah, so
She's in a perfect position.
Yeah.
Like, she even had to sign something when she became part of that council. I remember saying that like she wouldn't lobby or that she wasn't a part of a lobbyist group, and then her signature was like on active lobbying.
Yeah, proceeded to send out
documents,
emails and everything from her lobbyist email, and
afterwards and shit like that. And it was brought up, and basically, from what I saw, they went, "Oh yeah, well."
Oh, Canada's NRA is attacking the victims.
yeah.
It was entirely ignored. There was no repercussions. There was nothing that was done about it.
I think
they basically just said, "Stop asking questions, dummies."
When we had Tracy Wilson on the show that one time, and she said something. Oh, and guess who? We talked about someone earlier in the show. Guess who's likely going to be in the 2019 CCFR calendar? I said, not Heidi Ratchin. And I was right. It's not Heidi Ratchin.
Yeah. No, she's going to be in the next Caltech calendar, actually. Yeah. Because nobody wants to buy those anyways. But yeah, I mean, this is absolute nonsense. Like, I mean, if the government wants to have an actual legitimate public forum where people voice their opinions, then fine, that's kind of their job to do it. But to like rush this and cram it through without bothering to consult anyone other than the people whose opinion they want is not democracy. This is a farce. But I mean, unfortunately, that seems to be the norm these days with the liberals.
It's all about appearance, Gavin. It's all about appearance.
Well, then you'd think they would have picked a better looking gun or a scarier looking gun.
That's
Anyone that knows
scary
anything
enough.
about, because I'd be worried about it not working, and I spent a lot of money on it.
So like, let's look at the quote. It's not so. Again, we're talking about the Keltec RDB. It's not a hunting weapon. It's not a sport pistol. It's a weapon of war, and it is non-restricted.
Find me an army that issues a Caltech
Thank
RDB.
you. That's the one I was looking for.
The
What war
Caltech
is this
RDB
been used in?
is not. I would be amazed if it's been used in any war, including the drug war.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even in pink Muddy Girl camo, so you know that it's not used by the
It's
BC
in the war
gangbangers.
against good taste.
Yeah,
Don't they have a deal on if you buy 3 Caltex, you get a free tourniquet?
It's only the It's only their shotgun.
Okay.
yeah.
What is that thing?
The KSG.
KSG. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I mean,
was drawing a blank there.
John Wick uses it, so you know it's good.
What does that
He
say
also
about
uses
the
a fucking
Glock
pencil.
34?
And I'm not gonna go to the range with that.
Yeah. But yeah, you know how like people joke that like there's like, oh, it's it's mil spec, so it's good, which we all know that's not the case. I would say that like Keltec, then mil spec, then actual quality is how you rank things. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's ridiculous.
Mil-spec, which means
So then-
it was 35 years old, and then we bought it from Australia.
Yeah.
Made by the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
So I
Well-
love the series of quotes on the article here. It's been 29 years since we have had a very clear example of the damage that can be caused, suffering that's caused, the loss of life, destruction of families that can happen when one ill-intentioned person gets their hands on a weapon. And we've
that's
seen
what I say.
many examples since then.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
It's been 29 years since we've had an example, and we've seen many examples since then.
Awkward.
But I said this, like I said, they still point to this one massacre. They still point to the Eco Polytech, like
Right.
29.
And the Ruger
29
and
years
the
ago,
mini,
it's working. We made our
the
gun
mini
laws are working.
Ruger is still non-restricted.
And we still import illegal. I'm sorry, not illegal. We still import radical Muslim migrants.
Well, he
We
was
import illegal ones too, but
like, I don't know. Do we want to go into detail about the Mini 14?
not really. It's pretty cool, but it's not worthy of talking about.
But he had tried to modify it, and he had screwed with it. I had heard, like, from some of the old timers who were like around in that time, like he had tried to screw with it to try to make it like fully automatic, and he had got it working. He had screwed it up so much that it was working pretty well as a single shot. So, like the Eco Polytech massacre was such a massacre because no one had ever seen anything like that. And when he ordered out the men, they just left. You know, no one, there hadn't been a massacre like that, especially in Canada, like, you know, before.
Yeah.
So
And there
it was
hasn't been
new.
one since.
There was no concept of how to respond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one knew how to respond. And then the police showed up and they waited. They waited for the phone call for the hostages or whatever, like the hostage demand.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that has stopped or at least minimized events like this since then is the way that police have responded to them. Not gun laws, but the way that police respond. They don't stand around and set a perimeter and wait. They go into the building and they actively go after the person that's shooting.
Yeah, except
Yeah.
or the
Active
Parkland.
shooters stop shooting hostages
Parkland.
when you shoot them in the face.
Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something about Florida, Tim.
Yeah.
About Florida, but that's like when it comes to like, but there are more modern like incidences that happen in Canada. Like the Danforth is a clear one, but what I like to say about the Danforth was that gun control worked as it was going to work, as it will always work. Gun control disarmed all the victims on the Danforth that evening.
Oh. I think on to our next topic.
Yeah, it's a chat killer.
Can we talk about guns instead of marijuana?
We can
Let's
talk
do the
about
22 thing. I don't want to talk about weed.
that. All right.
Oh, but the first article I opened has like clearly what is a bushel of weed.
I was thinking the same thing.
Let's put the 22 match in here. I think this is a good spot
Yeah,
for
that's
it.
good.
We actually have feedback too, don't we?
Sure. I was there. It was good.
What sort of feedback do we have, Tim?
Oh, listener feedback at the end of the show.
What? No. Do we?
I
Really?
don't... Never mind.
Do we have a
Since
cassette
when?
tape from Earl?
No, we don't.
All right. Well, no. Let's talk about the 22 match that Ragnarok Tactical put on this past Saturday in the snow and rain. Andrew, as the host of the match, do you want to set this one up?
Okay, sure. So we ran a 22 match at the Guelph Rod and Gun Club. 5 stages, 50 targets, 50 rounds minimum to... I don't know. I enjoyed it. I learned some stuff. I'm not super happy with the hanging clay targets that we had. I have had those clay target hangers for years, and I have never destroyed any. And I figured that using 30 and leaving 20 in reserve would be like a more than safe margin of error. And we ended up destroying all 50 of them and having to like improvise some more clay hangers. So I feel a little bit bad that not everybody got to shoot targets that were set up exactly the same way, because we were trying to be consistent in our stage design. I think it went pretty well. I think we ended up with 25 people that shot. We had a couple of no-shows due to weather.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, despite it not being 100% identical on a few stages because of, some broken clay hangers, it was close enough. I mean, we improvised some with some string, and then Tyler was smart enough to make some out of wire. We also learned that you can drill holes into clays with a drill and not ruin them, which was kind of a fun learning experience.
How many did it take to figure that
out? Just one.
One.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Impressive.
But I was fully expecting to break every clay that we tried that on, and actually clays are remarkably durable.
Yeah, as we also learned when shooting them with a .22. There were many clays that would just have a single bullet hole in them, which was kind of frustrating when you were shooting some of the further out ones, because you weren't entirely sure if you hit it or not because it didn't shatter. While others, I mean, just disintegrated with one hit, which was amazing.
The disintegrating variety were my favorite. Targets were, I said 0 to 90 yards, but I think our targets actually ended up being something like 20 to 90 yards.
Yeah, I'd say the closest was somewhere in 20 yards to, about 93, I think, is where I lasered the furthest ones.
No, you lasered them at exactly 90 because we were approved to shoot at exactly 90 yards by the CFO.
Oh, yeah, I guess there was a plus or minus error on my lasering.
Yeah, there you
were
go.
You were standing behind the line when you lasered.
Okay, yeah, I guess good. As long as we didn't violate any range approvals by doing this.
No,
because
of course
we
not.
Shot from exactly the 90-yard mark where we were allowed to shoot from.
Of course, exactly.
Good, just so that we're clear on that.
Absolutely. No, I mean, obviously, I think it ran maybe a little longer than it should have.
Reset the clay targets. That's slow. And I don't think there's any way of getting around that. I mean, obviously, it was a little bit slower with the towards the end there when we didn't have the hangers for the clay and we were doing the improvised with the wires and strings and that slowed things down even a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think as the cold set in too, right? Like it.
Yeah, just the nature of having to walk down 100 yards after every
90 yards.
90 yards. Yeah, but again, the clays were stored 10 yards off the back of the line.
Yeah.
There's to make the walk down at the end of the range and replace the clays. That's just a slow process in general. So I think that's always going to be one issue with that is the reset time.
Yeah, most impressive though was watching Marty with his Kui with iron sights, and he actually managed to hit stuff.
The tube fed Kui, it held its own out to the 75 and beyond. I don't think I hit anything.
No, but you still got 20 points, which was not last place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did beat people, which was funny. And that's something I could have if I had actually practiced with that rifle beyond that, at a farther distance. I do think I could have done better with it. I know, I took it out just once to the club. So that is a gun that is purely for around the house, raccoon, possum, skunk, that type of stuff as needed. It's obviously not a gun that I would use for a competition shoot. This was just something to do for fun, to bring that one out and compete against all the scoped rifles.
I mean, there was talk of you using a .22 pistol, but
yeah, it was tie between using that or using a pistol with a full top rail and putting a scope on that and seeing if I could beat you guys with that as well. But I opted for the Kui. I took it out to the range once, and I tried on the we have some steel gongs at the end of our 100-yard rifle range, and with that one I'm like, if I hold over about around 6 to 8 inches, I can ring that gong consistently. And when I'm doing that, I have like a reference of the gong and like the top of the bunker for the gong. So as I'm like, when I was trying at the club, I'm like, okay, that's 6 inches over. Now I pull the trigger and ding, and it was no problem. But for the match, when it's just a mud berm and there was nothing that I could use as a reference point as to like kind of how far over I was, it made trying to hold over pretty difficult. So I just kind of like somewhere of there, I guess, and just trying. I just lobbing random 22s downrange.
I've got a steel plate that's roughly the size of a clay, so we can go test that out for you somewhere, Marty.
Yeah, it's a matter of just trying to figure out how to do that without any kind of reference whatsoever to guess the whole,
Yeah.
to try and how far over you are, because obviously the sights and the barrel are covering the clay target at 100 yards. So you don't have anything for perspective anymore.
Yeah.
I'd almost have to like change my sights so that it's like a 6 o'clock hold at 100.
Yeah.
And then just be holding down a certain amount for everything closer. Would probably be a better way of doing it if I was actually gonna like care.
Well, I mean, I will say that you seemed very nonchalant about it until that one stage where you started hitting things, and then you started frantically manually feeding.
No, I was always trying. I was always trying. But the first stage I shot, it was at the far distance, and I'm like, I don't know where these are going. I'm like, I don't know if I've hit anything. I don't know where these are going. So that's the first stage that you saw me hitting stuff was the first stage that I was actually like, okay, I'm on the clock and I'm hitting stuff, and so I can keep going.
Yeah. I will say that stage 3, I think, was the one that sort of made or broke the shooters. I mean, that was by far the most challenging one.
So I guess can we do a stage walkthrough so the listeners know what
that's probably a good
challenging
idea.
or what was?
Yeah, we do it quickly.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Okay.
stage
So
one
5
was
stages. Stage 1, 2 sets of targets of like 2 groups of 5, 2 arrays of 5 targets, roughly 25 and 60, 70 yards away. And it was just alternating close, far. Every time you broke, you had to change distances. And shooting on barrel was the prop to shoot from cover behind. You were allowed to use the barrel on it. Stage 2, we had a troop line from 40 to 90 yards. No, from 60 to 90 yards with clays on it. And the very last target had been donated by Frontline Industries. It was one of their dusty reactive targets. So every time you shot the last target, it made a little poof of colored smoke. Not really smoke, but like colored dust.
Yeah, they're like compressed chalk. They're pretty neat for what they were. They worked.
They're a couple of bucks, so we put it's just 10 targets at 90 yards. You had to shoot through a different shooting stage.
I'm sure Andrew will edit this in.
Yeah.
A what?
Yeah, your audio is just taking a massive crap right now.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to like say all of this into a mic and edit that into this section.
Well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Stage 4.
You just have to come out to the next one.
Yeah, just come out to the next one. Never. I don't know. My audio is screwed up. My internet is useless. I'm good to move on if you guys are.
Well, I guess, quickly, like 4 was a V that we had to go up one side and back down the other. And then 5 had 3 arrays at, 10-ish, 40-ish, and 90,
25.
something like that.
Yep, somewhere like that. 25, 60, 90 kind of thing.
Yeah, you had to shoot the first array prone, and then it was shooter's choice for the other ones, but you had to shoot each array from a different port through a VTAC barricade. So nothing super crazy, but yeah, stage 3 was definitely the most challenging, and I think really made or broke people's scores. I mean, I shot well for every stage but that one. So it was good though.
Let's say this. Anything you do differently?
If I had to shoot the same match again for stage 2, I definitely would have shot some of those targets prone. It would have been a larger transition from, an exterior portion of the barricade to the interior, but it seems that was the better way to go. I mean, it's obviously a much more stable platform.
I think a time plus scoring would be a little more interesting, because instead of using the 120-second par time, if someone can hit the same amount of clays in half the time, it kind of weights that a little bit more as well.
Hey, sorry guys. So I jumped on my mobile hotspot because apparently the hotel's internet has gone down. Am I more better?
Yeah. You sound less echoey.
Oh, good. That's so. Yes. There are definitely some changes. I'm not super happy with the scoring system that we used. I think that we definitely need to include the time component, which I originally was unsure about, because there are a lot of people that ended up with very similar overall scores. So if you look in the results, there was a lot of clusters. There's like 42 and 37 and like 30 points, where there's like 3 or 4 or 5 people in some cases that all had the same score. So I'm sure if I had a bunch of people that had that, they'd all be butthurt that there's no way to tell who actually came in like 3rd overall in the match.
Yeah. Well,
I think just doing if we do it again, a time plus with a 10-second penalty for a non-broken clay or something like that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, the outcome is the same. We're basically just sorting by who can hit the targets the fastest.
Yeah.
For a first run, though, I think it was good.
I don't think I'm going to be using hanging targets again in the future. Setting up the T-posts and the twine and everything is way too much of a pain in the butt. The static targets, I think, worked much better for most of the shooters.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, the clay holders that you built, that was a faster reset.
Yeah, maybe some arrays with only 2 or 3 in them, or a single for the odd.
I know,
but
I get what you're getting at, and I just made the array of 5 clays because it was easy to cut a sheet of plywood into 1 foot wide lengths, and then just 4-inch hole saw out 5 holes.
Yeah, and I mean,
the other term would be to use steel and have a spotter calling hits, like you would do with a PRS type of thing.
And we had talked about steel, and for the price, I mean, I couldn't have gotten this many targets for an initial match. But the other problem is, even if I had the targets, I would have had to have spent even more time setting up to build all the shrouds to shroud the steel, because the Ontario CFO is a jerk, and I don't like him.
I mean, maybe moving forward, we do, for the next match, we've obviously got a base of clay holders to start with. So we do, 4 of the stages clays and 1 of them is steel, maybe. So that over time we can eventually get to a faster match and build cooler props. But
the other thing is we go to a range that has the appropriate bunkers to just put steel into those already existing into existing shrouds,
and then shoot it with rifle rounds instead of 22 LR.
Well, so there's a very specific reason why I picked the 22 LR, though, and part of this was to see how it would go, and part of this is because there's a lot of people in Southern Ontario that have spent a lot of money building guns to do the CPRS series, the Rimfire series. So I know there's a lot of $2,000 22s around that people are not having the opportunity to shoot in a practical fashion. And I felt that this would address that shortage, because I made people shoot from unusual, unstable positions using props like shooting off of a barrel on its side, shooting through VTAC barricades, and there was still the opportunity to shoot some stages from the prone if you wanted.
Yeah, and I would say that the people that compete in that league came out in force. I mean, this was a very competitive match. There were some excellent shooters that came out.
I agree. I am amazed that we had as many people in the 40s out of 50 possible points that we did.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that, yeah, a lot of the good shooters from the Precision 22 League that our good friend Rick puts on came out to play and have some fun. And, yeah, stretch their 22s out because, yeah, they've built these crazy, Precision 22 guns, myself included, and I know Tyler's in there and everyone else. And, yeah, you don't get a chance to use them that often. So it was fun to do that. Now, but as a 22, you can also come out with your Kui and have fun if you want.
Well, all of,
exactly.
Yeah.
All of that said, I think the next time that we do this, I will limit it to a lower center fire caliber round. So if you wanted to do this with an AR, or if you wanted to do this with some sort of a under 30 caliber bolt gun, I don't see a problem with that. I don't think I want people shooting their 308s or their 30-06s and destroying all of the target stands, but I don't see a reason why you couldn't do this with a 223 or a 22-250 or even a 243.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be fun. I mean, a 22-250 could be interesting.
Well, just because I know people have these high velocity small game guns, and I mean, like 243 is a deer gun in Southern Ontario, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, like,
yeah,
bring your hunting rifle and do something different. Yeah,
that could be fun. Or even like a 22 Magnum or something would be
right. And I mean, I had done this as a thing to get people from the, like, I mean, I was stealing people from Rick's CPRS league.
Borrowing.
I wanted more of these matches because I enjoy that style of shooting. And in Southern Ontario, there's not a lot of opportunity to do long-range PRS style shooting because we don't have the ranges for it. But we have lots of 100-yard ranges where we can do a challenging PRS style match with 22s. Which, yes, it's not as much fun as doing it with a 308 or a 6.5 or some other weird thing, but I also don't need 1,000 or 1,200 yard range to be able to effectively put on the match.
Yep.
Also, could you imagine the reset on clays at 1,200 yards? That would be a bitch.
Good God, no. But yeah, no, I think for a first attempt, especially, it was a great match. I had a lot of fun, even though the weather was terrible. But that just made it all the better in a way, like.
You know what? Aside from being a little bit cold, I didn't mind that the weather was crappy. I had my my True Spec rain gear on that we sell through Ragnarok Tactical. If you want True Spec rain gear, you can let me know and I'll get you some because I don't have every size and color in stock, but we sell True Spec. So, I mean, I was happy. I had to switch gloves like twice because my light gloves were not heavy enough and then my heavy gloves got wet. So I had to get different gloves. But, I mean, whatever. You put on a pair of original SWAT boots that you can buy on Ragnarok Tactical. They come in a waterproof flavor. You put on your True Spec rain gear that you can buy at Ragnarok Tactical. Comes in a bunch of different sizes and colors. I mean, I was happy, and I was out there longer than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I basically had the same. I had my Gore-Tex jacket, I had waterproof pants, and I grabbed me some Gore-Tex socks, and I was dry all day.
I was leaving in the morning, and I was like, oh, shit, it's going to be raining and that. I better grab us some stuff. I'm like, hey, a second. All my duck stuff is in the truck still from the previous day duck hunting. I'm like, using that. I was dry and warm. No problem. Like, you don't know, as long as you dressed appropriately, you're fine.
Yeah.
With your Frog Togs boonie hat, you were certainly the most fashionable FUD on the firing line.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. All right. I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do.
All right. Do we want to talk pots now?
No, I don't. I'm hungry. I want food.
Do we
got the munchies?
Yeah. do you guys want to call it, or do you guys want to talk the marijuanas? We'll take a consensus.
I'm not about the marijuanas, so I'm not going to be able to offer a lot of insight.
Yeah, I think
I just enjoy laughing at all the people who are all happy about getting this legalized, in quotation marks. And all the
actually legalized.
Yeah.
and all the problems they're having with it. Like,
Yeah. We can laugh at them because they're clearly not listeners of ours.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll give everyone the quick Coles notes. The guy that runs the marijuana party is not happy that pot's legal. There's some new
because he's a single issue campaign, and they took away his issue.
Yeah, and I guess there's some new impaired driving penalties that could bar newcomers from Canada. So if you're a recent immigrant and you get busted driving high, they will kick you out of the country. But somehow we just give haikus to ISIS fighters. And the reviews from the OCS website are that they are the worst dealer they've ever had. So that pretty much sums up the pot news week. So pretty much everything that you had thought would happen is happening. I mean, and the Canada Post,
when you're right,
the Canada Post strikes are certainly not helping with their distribution.
I don't think that it's Canada Post strike in Ontario that's causing the problem. If you look at the
it's
places
not helping,
that have gone on strike, but if you look at the places that have gone on strike, very few of them have been on Ontario, and very few of them would have impacted distribution. The incompetence of one government agency does
multiple days for a shipment from Canada Post now because of the stupid strike.
I'm not saying that you don't have to wait. I'm just saying it only impacted one major facility in Toronto so far, and that's the only place in Ontario that's really been impacted, is one major facility in Toronto.
Yeah. I didn't get mail for like 2 days.
Oh, that's
just because your postal person hates their job and isn't delivering your mail. That's not because they're on strike.
Yeah. You can only complain after 3 days, though, as I've recently learned. 1 day, 2 days, they don't give a shit, even if it's a business. It's 3 days when you can make an official complaint.
That's right, because if you complained after day one, they would need to hire more ombudsman people in order to investigate and deal with that problem.
Yeah, which is ridiculous because we had 2 days with no delivery, then a delivery, and then another 2 days with no delivery, and then a delivery, and then 1 day without a delivery. And we called to complain, and they're like, yeah, unless you've had 3 days. I'm like, I've had 5 friggin' days with no mail. But yeah. All right. That covers pot and our rant about Canada Post, I guess. Fuck Canada Post.
Fuck them.
Yeah, we don't have any rapid fire feedback. So yeah, I guess Andrew, where can everybody find you?
On the internet, but specifically at ragnaroktactical.ca, which you should probably also be following on Facebook and Instagram at Ragnarok Tactical Canada, or on Facebook. It's I think it's facebook.com/RagnarokTactical. Don't quote me. Go on Facebook. Look, it's the one in Canada, because there are a couple other companies that think that they should be Ragnarok Tactical. And I got bad news for the FFL in Florida that wants to be Ragnarok Tactical. If you want to buy my domain name, you're more than welcome to do that. But you got to offer me a lot more money because the number they gave me was insulting.
Yeah, it only had 1 0 in it.
Yeah, that's not nearly
enough
zeros.
Was that after the decimal?
No, it had 2 zeros after the decimal, but only 1 before.
Check out Ragnarok Tactical. Buy some plates. Get a plate carrier. Get some first aid supplies. I know that we're light on first aid supplies right now. I have a resupply of first aid stuff that is on its way.
Yeah, stay tuned for more course info, because we've got some shit coming down the pipe at some point in the winter, spring.
Yeah, 2019 we'll have more courses. If you need the super duper operator shoes, you should buy those from us, because we have $10 shipping, and originalfootwear.ca or ultima.ca, whatever you can buy them from the manufacturer. But my shipping is cheaper than the manufacturers because I'm better at negotiating deals than they are. I'm basically
Yeah.
the Trump of tactical stores. Everyone knows this. I have the best shipping. It's $10 flat rate. It doesn't matter how much you buy or what it is. It's $10.
So
if
buy
you
as
want
much as you
shoes-
can to make that spread over more.
Yeah, if you want the super duper Ultima Maritime assault boots, the shipping is $10. If you want a set of body armor, the shipping is $10.
Or if you
If
want
you-
both,
If you
Still
want a
$10.
single taco rifle, the shipping is not $10 because I can get that into an envelope and the shipping will be less. So if I can put it into a thing where I get charged less shipping and I can send that crap letter mail, I will offer it letter mail because I don't need to make money on shipping. We don't need to give Canada Post more money. Obviously, they're going on strike. So,
well, sweet. All right, Tim, where can we find you?
You can find me at facebook.com/TimsGoodT-shirts.
Benny?
BennyLewis.ca.
Awesome. Marty, where can we find the show?
CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, Facebook Canadian Patriot Podcast, or you can email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com.
Excellent.
Yeah, they can.
And you can find me here on this panel or on the Instagrams at urbex_GTA. And that concludes tonight's program. I would like to remind everyone, though, that you are the true North, strong and free.